Hi, everyone. I'm Dave Rivas with the Roustabouts Theatre Company, and there's an event coming up Monday, May 27th at Scripps Ranch Theater. It's the celebration of new writers. And today we have the director of the event, Matt Thompson. Matt, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, no problem. Hi.
What is the celebration of new writers?
So Roustabouts years ago started doing this celebration mostly for local writers here in San Diego. And they curated just from San Diego some what were called just short plays, anywhere between 5 and 30 minutes. And so we've been doing this for a few years. I helped out last year, so I'm the literary associate with Roustabouts, and I directed the short plays last year. And then this year, we decided to kind of formalize it, open it up beyond San Diego, make it national. And we sort of put some boundaries on it and make sure that they were 10-minute plays with 2 or 3 characters. And our theme this year was identity or identifiers.
Are they all, say, dramatic, or are there some more comedic than others?
There's funny plays or serious plays, but everything revolves around identity and personal identifiers, specifically with regards to culture, race, age, religion, sexual orientation. So those personal identifiers that make up who we are, we try to select 8 pieces that were kind of a broad range in terms of various identifiers, in terms of how we can tell stories from various perspectives.
Yeah, great.
Yeah.
People who might normally clash, but then they find a way to communicate, or maybe not.
Yeah, sometimes it's just some of them are, as we say, are kind of funny, and some are, a little bit more serious in tone. But it's trying to give platforms and attempting to give more platforms to diversity in terms of storytelling, which in the theater, and that's what most of these little short plays sort of do.
That's great. And there's 8 pieces in total?
8 pieces, yeah. They're all 10-minute plays, so about 8 to 10 minutes long.
Now there's 5 or 6 actors for the whole thing, or for each individual piece?
Yeah, so we have an ensemble of 5 people to read all 8 plays. It's everything from the stage directions. So there's some that have 2, or I'm sorry, some plays have 1, 2, and 3 characters. So we're all kind of mixing and matching the actors with those pieces.
That's great. And so where did all these writers come from? Are they all brand new, or have they done a few things?
Some of them are newer writers. There's people from New York, Los Angeles. We got over 180 submissions, which was a great number. And it was a very challenging thing to pare down to 8 pieces. So we have Carla Navarro, who is from last year. She is returning with another piece. I'm a narcissist, so one of my pieces is in here as well, because I was looking for a specific thing about religion. We couldn't find one, so I popped one in there myself. So my piece is in there as well. And I had never written a piece for the celebration before, so I was in there. And most of the other writers are newer writers, and some are more seasoned. Some have backgrounds in theater, obviously. A couple have television and film backgrounds as well. So it's really exciting because it's a wide range in terms of diversity of the writers themselves, which is always exciting.
Yeah, that's great. And so how did Roustabouts put this call out to the whole nation for to submit plays for 180 some submissions?
Yeah, I just put it out, in terms of there's playwriting, you can just post them anywhere. So we kept it in-house for many years, just sort of asking playwrights that we had known, and mostly here in San Diego. So to post it, we just kind of posted it in various organizational sites for playwriting, and we got a very, very large return. So it was very challenging narrowing down those specific plays.
That's amazing. And so I just assume that you had readers helping you out with all those.
Yeah, we had a lot of readers, and and myself, of course, and it was a great process in terms of how to pick the plays. And it's always exciting to read new work, and that's something that I love doing myself, being a playwright, but I also, being a former, associate artistic director at North Coast Rep, and also literary manager and literary associate here with the Roustabouts, and reading new work and new pieces is it's exciting. It's the seed, it's the foundation of what we do in the theater. We interpret all the time plays over and over and over, which is what they're meant to do. but the very first time you get a play or a piece, it's really exciting to get your hands on it and to explore those themes and the characters and what goes amazing, and then also what we can work on as writers ourselves to sort of shuttle those themes along into society.
That is so great. So, for those who've never been to something like this before, what can they expect when they come up to Scripps Ranch Theater?
Well, this year we're making it a very big party. It is on Memorial Day weekend, so it's the, Monday night.
Memorial.
Um, I think there's free, don't quote me, there's free something fun, drinks and some snacks and things like that. So it's supposed to be a fun look, and for the audience the first time to get a look at some really great new work. And it's a pretty, compact evening. It's going to be nice and fun, and afterwards we have a talk back. So that talk back, we talk about each play and we open it up to the audience so they can ask questions. Some of the playwrights will be there in attendance, and some are from very far away, so some will not. But it's a great inclusive element to theater, as it's a three-dimensional art form, and the audience is one of those dimensions, and we need folks to come in and experience this kind of fun activity.
Yeah, I love this process that we call it workshopping, right?
Right. Yeah.
I've done a few projects with you in the past, and so we come from different perspectives as far as like playwright and actor. I've always been on the actor side, but as a playwright, first of all, this is one of my most favorite things to do in theater. As a writer, when you put out a new piece like this, and then what's going through your mind when you're first when you do a table read, you get one part of it, and then when you hear that first initial audience response, you get another part of it, and then the talk back on top of that, there's all these other elements coming in. So what does a writer get out of all of that?
Yeah, that's a great question, Dave, because you're absolutely right. Because pieces we've worked on together, and I know you do a lot of work as an actor, and especially as new work stuff as well, is that plays are it's they need to be read, they need to be heard, and that's the hardest thing about writing plays is it's a collaborative process. As a novelist or short story writer, you can go away and write, and you can sense and feel and read it. But plays need actors. It's a collaboration. It doesn't work without it. So that very first time you read it aloud, some of these pieces have been read before, but some of these pieces have never been read at all. So the playwright really does get a sense of where their play is going, right? It's understanding that are the themes emerging properly? Are the characters created, however, whether it's realistically or abstract or whatever they're looking for? It's a chance to collaborate. And that between the actors that are reading the script and, of course, the audience's reaction as well, and seeing how the themes might resonate. So that's a great question. Absolutely. Yeah, we're always looking, and you read it again and again and again and again. So for many times, this is the very first time these plays are being read, and it's really exciting.
Yeah, it's so exciting. And then as a writer, I'm sure there's times where there's happy or maybe not so happy sometimes little surprises like, okay, that worked. Oh, wait, why that fell flat. And you kind of find out where the holes are, or
Yeah.
people weren't thinking the same thing the same way you were when you were writing it, you know?
And you touch on that, which is a great point, because as the writer, we have one perspective.
Yeah.
So we are writing in this one perspective. And this is the amazing thing about theater, especially with the very first read, is the actors bring hopefully what you feel is going on, but then they also bring things that you may not even expect, like, oh my gosh, I didn't even sense that. That's what because the actors are creative artists
Yeah.
just as much as the playwrights are, and the director and things like that. So it is a very collaborative art form, even though you think as a playwright this is done, but it's not, because as you say, as an actor, you're going to bring these things to life that maybe the playwright and even the director doesn't see. That's why you have actors, right? That's why we do that too, right?
Yeah, well, don't take this the wrong way, but as an actor or as a voice talent, sometimes it's tough having the writer in the room when you're trying to do the job or the gig. But uh, when you hear a writer say, "Oh, I never thought of it that way," I mean, that's one of the greatest things to hear as an actor.
Yes.
It's just amazing. I just love hearing that. And what does that do to you as a writer? Does it? do you feel surprised? Do you feel like, oh man, what? I should have thought of that.
No, it makes me feel, as a writer myself, it makes me feel joy because you're like, oh, I didn't think of that. That's part of the collaborative process. I put that on the table for you to take as an actor and go and thrive with that and bring something to life. And that's what's, you're absolutely right. It just, as a playwright personally myself, I feel that just all it does is make it much, much better. It's so amazing when you get the actors in the room reading it. It does. It's absolutely true what you're saying. And it is hard too, Dave, having actors or playwrights in the room, which a lot of the time in different processes. And this one, because our rehearsal process is very short, we don't have the playwrights there. Um, but it depends. There's a boundary where the playwright is allowed to, and
Yeah.
professionally we know that we're like, we can't, let's not say anything. That's up to the director and the actors to try to create those things. And if playwrights have, they want to ask questions and they can either talk to the director or say, hey, should we change this or go on? That's part of the collaboration. So, but as an actor, and I've done it too, it's hard working on new work when you have the playwright there. So, and they don't want to shuttle them away, but we also need to be respectful of the actor's work as too. That's also part of the process.
It's also so inspiring because I've done a lot of workshops myself and a lot of stage readings, but what's so inspiring is that there's been more than one time where I've gotten a new script that's never been performed or read before, and you're going through it like a table read or something, and then you're like, I don't know about this. And
Mhm.
then you go through that process. The actors act it out, the director and the writer, everybody collaborates, and
Yeah,
then the writer goes back and tweaks some things, makes some changes, and then you bring it back. And then you do it again and again and again and again. And then, however much time passes, a couple months, a year, a couple years sometimes, it's in full production and it's an amazing show.
yeah,
That to me is so inspiring. As a talent, I mean, I think we're hard on ourselves as talent sometime, and including writers as well, I'm sure. But that process has taught me, yeah, put it out there. Let's see what you got, and then let's talk about it. Let's
yeah.
share, and let's go back to the drawing board and come up with a new draft. And then you keep going, and then you have something fantastic and amazing that you're really proud of.
Yeah, it's very true. And with the Roustabouts, we've done this quite a few times with many writers in terms of putting pieces up there, not just the new celebration of writers, but other stage readings. And you're absolutely true. It's like you can read it and then, oh, we need to change some things. We need to keep going, we need to adjust. And it comes from everywhere. It comes from the actors because they're creative as well, and the director, they're a creative individual, and the playwright. So it is a big collaboration, like you say, to do it. A lot of times, this could be the very first time you read a play and then you read it a couple more times before you get into a full production sometimes. And that kind of works out all the quote kinks, as you say. It is. It's a workshop. You're working it out, right? That's exactly it.
It's
Yeah.
so great. And the audience, I think it's great for the audience as well because they're getting kind of a behind the scenes, uh, I guess, journey through the process. They see it in its early stages, and
Yeah.
sometimes those audience members come back to the next reading of it, and you see the progression, and
Yeah.
that's really something cool. I mean, when I go to theater, when I go to watch readings, that's what I look for. I'm like, oh, okay, this worked, that didn't work, and then you get to have input. And then the next time you see it, they get to feel like, oh, I kind of added to that. So it's kind of cool for the audience as well.
It is too, because when you do a reading and you hear, as the playwright, you're sitting there, you're getting feedback from the actors. Obviously, you talk to the director, but you don't get that feedback all the time until the audience is there as well. And even as an audience member, we've done it all. You, me, everybody. You kind of sit out there and go, I felt like this was working. And the playwright takes some of that in, some that, they may not, but at the same time, the audience is that third, part of the three-dimensional kind of art form that I like to think about where it doesn't work without you can sit with the actors and read it, and it's great, and you get some feedback from them, then you get the audience in, and yeah, it is. It's absolutely true. They get that behind the scenes kind of feel as an audience member, which is they're they're in on the seeds of creation, as I say. They're kind of right there along the journey, and that's special for them.
Exactly. Now, this the themes of the identity and all that. Is there anything in particular, or are there some notes, so to speak, that you would like the audience to maybe experience or maybe take home with them after they
Uh,
see something like this?
yeah, that's a great question. Yeah, there are some plays based on cultural and racial identity. So if we look for a couple of those pieces that we're looking at within the festival, there's religious perspectives. There's sexual identity in terms of you know sexual identity in terms of women in war, for instance, so on and so forth. So there's a lot of variation in terms of what I call personal identifiers, in terms of those elements that make us who we are. So as you watch these plays and take them away, a big part of what theater is uh, not just empathy, but an understanding of various perspectives and keeping those things in mind. And hopefully our group has selected 8 pieces that offer some good range in terms of small bits of diversity within 10 minutes. So
Yeah,
um,
I've noticed that just from the different pieces that are going to happen. Uh, some are more in the now and something you can experience when you go to, say, a Starbucks, and
yeah,
some kind of have a regional aspect, like it's a story that takes place at the border, or it's a story that takes place in another country. And some of the stories I noticed also are not just about how I feel or what I'm going through. Some of these themes, some of the synopsis have made me think about possibly our ancestors and how
yeah.
we got here on top of that. So that there's kind of just all kinds of cool elements going on there.
Yeah, there's I don't want to give anything away, but there are a few really, really fun pieces that have to do with like pieces of women in war during World War II, World War One, and identity in terms of religion, and there's a whole bunch of fun pieces in there that speak to us as people, and I think that's the diversity of who we are. And I, as a playwright too, and the curator of plays, I always feel like it's important to have a diverse background in terms of being able to tell stories. And that's kind of a snapshot of what we have here, I hope.
Could you tell me if you have a favorite part of the entire celebration of new writers process, from the submissions to the reading to the performance to the audience feedback, working with the actors? Is there anything in there, or is there a whole bunch of stuff in there that is your favorite part?
The favorite part really is, well, there's 2 parts. One is working with the actors when we finally get the actors in there reading the scripts and hearing them for the first time and what we can do. I think that's really, really exciting. And honestly, it's really exciting to put it in front of people because it's never put in front of an audience. So when you put those pieces in front of people and getting the reaction is ultimately my most favorite part. And that's the part that I want a lot of people to come to see and experience these brand new pieces. So that really is my ultimate favorite part of the entire process, is when we perform them on the stage.
That's great. And now I want to ask you about something outside of the celebration of new writers. You have a new play that you've written called Hoods.
Yes.
You tell us anything about that?
Yeah, so Phil Johnson actually commissioned this play specifically um, about the hope in terms of homelessness. And it sounds like a contradictory in terms almost, but so we've been working with some organizations specifically about individuals that are homeless that are in their cars, which are called safe parking programs. And these are talking about people that are not typically those that you might find on the street, but they're working, they're going to school, they're people that are living in their cars. And so this piece called Hoods is a play that was commissioned. It is, we're going to do a reading, I believe, later on next season. And it is dealing with a young Hispanic woman that is going to the university on a scholarship. She's a poet. And the people that are in this beautiful community of parked cars. There are people that are struggling just to meet ends meet. The play actually takes place here in San Diego. Uh, as we know, it's a very expensive place to live.
Yeah.
I'm an educator. I work in academia, and I can't share, but I do know students that are literally living in their cars. And
Yeah.
this is this is kind of one of the inspirations for this is how do we get these people out of their cars? And this character offers a lot of hope in terms of being able to find a way out of this environment, which is a good place, but also, she's a very inspiring character. So without giving too much of it away, it's about hope, and it's about the struggles of being, almost homeless. And there are these people putting things together as best they can, living in the car with her auntie, who's not actually her auntie, and she's got a lot of backstory to that. So it's a challenging piece. Hopefully, we'll see. We haven't done a reading of it yet, so I'm excited to hear that with actors and with the audience as well, and seeing what kind of feedback we're going to get from that. But it's a really inspiring story, because you think about homelessness, and you might think about something really negative, but this is a really kind of a positive, hopeful light in terms of that topic.
Good. Yeah, it should be. And unfortunately, I think situations like that are more common than people realize.
Right.
I'm sure the research for this is really hitting home, or really
Yeah.
here.
And we did a lot. I did a lot of research and on this topic, and it's it's scary. You don't think about it. You kind of turn your blind eye to it. And a lot of times you see people on the street, which is one, form of homelessness. And then you have the other form of homelessness, that these are people that are working hard. They're really struggling just to make it. And for whatever circumstances they have, they're not able to put everything together economically or what have you, even with help from the government, so on and so forth. So it's a really powerful story. And this woman's a beat rap poet that's, a young woman that's trying to uplift herself through her words and poetry. And hopefully it'll take off. Obviously, read it once, and you got to look at it again and again and again. But I'm very proud of it, and I hope that it can see some light and others as well. So
That's so great. I can't wait to read it. I can't wait to see it.
yeah.
All right, Matt. So any final words on the celebration of new writers?
Prepare to be inspired.
Thank you, Matt. Matt Thompson, director of the celebration of new writers with the Roustabouts Theatre Company. This event is coming up Monday, May 27th at 7 p.m. at Scripps Ranch Theater. I'm Dave Rivas, and for more information, you can go to theroustabouts.org.